Hello and welcome to another Fantasy Life Best Ball stream. I'm your host, Ian Hartitz. It's a great day to be great, and it's a great day to hopefully win $1.5 million over at DraftKings Best Ball Goodness. So joining me today and competing against me is none other than Fantasy Life Director of Analytics. And that small box on your screen, there he is, Dwain, The Rock McFarland. Dwain, I'm pick 10, you're pick 11. Let's compete.
What could go wrong? Did you say we could win $1 million doll hairs? Like that feels like something a serial killer would say. Doll hairs.
I'm winning 1.5. Second place gets $1 million, so I'm rooting for you, bud.
I'll take second. I'll take Hartitz.
That would be pretty fun. But yeah, guys, again, over on DraftKings, full PPR, 1 quarterback, 3 wide receivers, and yeah, trying to take down some freaking tournaments. So draft is already underway, and we are in the same one. Always a couple of times per year where, try to join at the same time. One of us gets stuck in another one, but not today, Satan. We are chilling. So Dwain, as we kind of get into these drafts again, actually just did a show on Thursday that's live on our YouTube channel. You guys want to check that out about what to do from the late round position. But if you want to go through your general thoughts, Dwain, so I can snipe you on everyone that you hold dear to your heart, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm not sharing any of them because I don't want to be sniped by you. And don't even act like you're joking because I know you will do it. And you'll take pleasure in doing it, which I mean, you should. Like, that's part of fantasy, right? We're just trying to beat our friends and at the end of the day and a lot of these things.
Just guys being dudes. But I will say, and I am stealing this a little bit from Dwain because he said it first, but we're a team here. First 7 or 8 picks of fantasy. I would say the first 8. If you can get anything in there in your home league, guys, you're feeling good because you're getting one of these baller big 5 wide receivers and then Bijan, McCaffrey, and Brees. So Garrett ended up going a little earlier than expected here. I'm going to take who I consider to be the clear-cut next best option. That's right, AJ freaking Brown. So good luck now, Dwain. What are you doing?
Oh, wow. I'll have to take Puka Nacua. I'm so disappointed. I'm so, yeah. I know, Ian, like you're a little bit lower on Nacua, but you still like him. And honestly, I'm not that worried about it. I think some offenses just condense right around 2 players. We see it in Miami with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. We see it with the Rams. I mean, last year when you had Nacua and Cooper Kupp available together, they were both over a 25% target share. I mean, what are we hoping for from wide receivers? A 25% target share and an offense that can throw for, over 4,000 yards. You're getting that with the Rams. So sometimes I think we just overthink things. And now, oh, wow. Do I want to go with Jahmyr Gibbs or Marvin Harrison Jr.? I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and take the healthy player.
Cardinals
wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Interesting.
Going to go with the guy without any really highlight reels because Greg Dortch gets them all.
I love how the now common consensus is that Marv just creates too much separation to have cool highlights. Come on, route running separation are some of the best highlights. I refuse to go down that well. But
I had somebody tell me they're suppressing them. They're not releasing them, but they allow them for Greg Dortch. But for Marvin Harrison Jr., they're told they can't record them and release them.
Big NFL all 22 suppressing the Marvin Harrison Jr. training camp highlights. There are some teams that certainly will put more out than others. I mean, the Malik Neighbor stuff is absolutely wild. But I know there was a funny beat writer. I forget what team it was earlier this year, but they literally drew out one of the plays because they weren't allowed to record or post anything that they saw from training camp. So I get it from the NFL perspective. But you know what? We're just growing the game, trying to have a good time. Maybe a little bit more Maserati Marv on the timeline would not be hurting anyone. But your boy AJB and Jahmyr Gibbs through 2 rounds. Dwain going with wide receiver, Puka and Marvin Harrison Jr. Little week 17 correlation already, Mr. McFarland. Look at you.
Yeah. I like I set the whole thing up this way, Hartitz, just so that I could have week 17 Puka Nacua versus Marvin Harrison Jr. I will say, that was harder to get earlier in the draft season, but now with Puka getting injured, has pushed him down, a spot or 2 in drafts, and you're a little bit closer. So it's easier to sometimes get Marvin Harrison Jr. when he doesn't go at pick 12 to come back to you. But did you notice that the other team took Cooper Kupp right there at the turn?
A little early.
I agree. I mean, he's in a range, though. I will say it's a pretty overall, if you put it all together, I break it up into mini tiers in my wide receiver tiers article, but it's a flat tier overall made up of multiple mini tiers. Like, it does fit into this range where you're dealing with guys that are older, that have had injuries. So I'm out on him at the 1-2 turn, but I could also see something where you could talk yourself into it.
I mean, I'll go ahead and, freak out producer LaMarca and start switching around tabs here. But yeah, Dwayne, we can look at your rankings right here on FantasyLife.com. And I agree, man. It's one of those things that we've kind of seen throughout the offseason where, yes, I do think there's really 10 wide receivers at the top, from CD, Tyreek, Chase, Jettas, Amon-Ra, AJB, Garrett Wilson. I have Puka, again, just a little bit lower, but you can argue him there if you want. Marv, and then Drake London. Like, to me, it's those 9 guys cemented as wide receiver ones in offenses with quarterbacks we trust and feel great about. But after that, man, like, again, we have guys we prefer. I know Dwayne and I both have Waddle and Nico as our wide receiver 12 and 13. It's okay to have the ranks the way you do, but like, would it really shock us if Cooper Kupp, a fellow, arguable 1B in his offense, maybe the 1A, like, is it really that big with this between Cooper Kupp and Jalen Waddle? I don't really think so, Dwayne. Again, give me Waddle, but it is, a pretty flat tier to your point. So when you did make your wide receiver tiers, Dwayne, I know you have your wide receiver strategy article live on FantasyLife.com right now. Is it like a true 2A, 2B, 2C situation?
Yeah. I've got a bunch of guys that are really 2s. I had some people give me feedback and they didn't like the 2A, 2B, 2C. So I just break them all in individual tiers. But yes, there is a big group that these are like, it's your tier 2, tier 3 guys, so I like all of them. The biggest thing for me is I just try to avoid risk to things like injury and age with my earlier picks that I don't really feel like I need to take on. I have a player in Jalen Waddle that's in his absolute prime. That's the number 2 wide receiver on a team that I love. That's the same thing as Cooper Kupp, except that he's old, so it's like, I don't need to introduce the added risk of Cooper Kupp failing on me. 1 in 5 wide receivers that have been top 12 guys turn into wide receiver 4s without any indication like that it's going to happen. And Cooper Kupp, on the other hand, he's actually checked quite a few of those boxes.
All right, I am gonna go ahead and just grab DJ Moore right here. Again, still in the flat tiers of wide receiver. So if Dwayne had not taken Marvin Harrison Jr. before, I would have taken Marv, even ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs if Dwayne just really went rogue and took someone else. So I am with him there on avoiding some of the injured guys when possible. But for me, Jahmyr Gibbs is supposed to be back by week 1. I'm not really overly concerned about it long lasting, and I do believe him to still be the, for good reason, consensus RB4 in Fantasyland. So shooting for the moon. And because we're shooting for the moon, Dwayne took the first tight end off the board. Travis Kelce, come on down. Look at you, Dwayne. First tight end.
Yeah, I don't have Kelce very much over on DraftKings. I was just looking. So I need to get some. And like we said, we're in this flat spot. I've got plenty of Zay Flowers, Tank Dell, a lot of these other guys I've drafted quite often. But this is the guy that I haven't drafted. Yeah. So I am going to go ahead and just do this.
Ooh, look at you. Mahomes to Kelce stack. I am back on the board. He's not going to make it back to me. Josh Allen is pretty much chilling. How much time do I have? 20 seconds to talk out loud to everyone still.
Yeah, I'll talk about so
give me Josh Allen. Screw it. We'll do it live.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Well, I've had so many of these drafts like these where, honestly, I'm building a lot of the 2 and 3 quarterback builds late because of the way the quarterbacks go. So on DraftKings, I'm underweight on elite quarterbacks. So I just want to get a little bit more exposure. And I will say, like, to take Kelce Mahomes at the turn there, I do believe you need to have started wide receiver. Yeah. If you started running back, you can't do it because you're going to get left out of wide receiver. You got to start 3. It's a full PPR format. If you start running back wide receiver, I also think it puts you in a real jam at wide receiver later in the draft.
All right, chill.
If you took 2 to start, then I think it becomes easier. But you didn't take tight end and quarterback. I took tight end and quarterback. That's my point. To take tight end and quarterback onesies at the 3-4 turn, I think you have to have started with 2 wide receivers.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that is fair. And I will say, you were able to automatically stack Mahomes and Kelsey, obviously, which helps quite a bit. The one allure with Josh Allen is that really all of his weapons are going to still be available later. There's a chance that I won't be able to get Dalton Kincaid, but all 3 of those marquee wide receivers, again, priced as wide receiver 4s. Hopefully a couple of them come down to the squad. So I will say, Dwayne, the guy I was thinking about pulling the trigger on instead went 1 pick after me, Rashee Rice. Sure seems like the community is finally coming along to the idea that, looks like the NFL is once again dragging its collective feet on trying to figure out this suspension. So if Roger Goodell comes out tomorrow and says, Rashee Rice, we are not suspending him definitively, where do you think he would go in this draft?
He goes at the 2-3 turn. And the kind of build that you want to take a reach on Rashee Rice, because he wasn't in the queue anywhere. Like this was a huge reach versus ADP. But if you're going to do it, and honestly, I considered going Rashee Rice with my 3rd pick and then Mahomes over Kelsey. Ooh. So I considered it where I was at, but I was trying to play the odds of Rashee Rice is way down this board. And if there's a chance that either one of these players comes back to me to also go with Mahomes, it would have been Rashee Rice. But I also knew that you would have probably taken him right in front of me just to kick me smack dab in the balls, which, I was already expecting, but I'm playing the odds, right? Like I'm not getting Kelsey if I pass him. But if I take Rashee Rice, like I'm taking away the chance that he falls. But what I want to say is like the guy at the pick right in front of you, Rocklaw, or the person, like maybe it's just an awesome lady drafter. Rashee Rice is a great pick on that kind of build. You started Breece Hall and Devon Achane, right? Then you come back with Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, I'm not crazy about it, but you took a wide receiver like you needed to, and then you took Rashee Rice. So what you've done is you've said Rashee Rice is mispriced, and he allows me to take 2 running backs with my first 2 picks.
Yeah.
So I talked about that today in the wide receiver strategy article. Right now, like on ESPN and Yahoo and all these leagues, we'll see if they start adapting. But you and I have talked about it. Rashee Rice goes in round 8 and 9 of those drafts. And in the column, I wrote, look, take him as high as round 6. And if you start with 2 running backs, I mean, just take him. Make sure you get him on your team. Take Malik Neighbors and turn around and take Rashee Rice like right away. And you could come out with this team that even though you started with 2 running backs, you still end up with this really high end wide receiver room, and that could really that can end up creating a real dominant team. I like to kind of wait on running backs a little bit because we know that injuries create opportunity on the waiver wire later in the season. You don't get that as much with wide receiver because just getting on the field doesn't automatically equal fantasy points like it does at running back. But I think there's a lot to be said. If you're going to go with the running back upside strategy, I like the 2 he took with Breece Hall and Achane. Sky's the limit on both. And then getting Rashee Rice with pick 4. I thought it was a really good pick.
Got our ADP tool over at FantasyLife.com up right now. And as you guys can see, public, the quote unquote more casual audience out there. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Is a bit of sleep at the wheel. No pun intended with Rashee Rice here. So 96 on ESPN and Yahoo, 84th on Sleeper. Yes, Underdog freaks out with their wide receivers, so I wouldn't overly, be concerned with that. But whenever you see these really big differences between ESPN, Sleeper, and Yahoo versus NFFC and FFPC especially, something's probably going on there. And Dwain also mentioned Malik Neighbors, and he is another guy where, again, 63 and 67 compared to 31 and 41. So Dwain, not saying, that some of the casual audience doesn't beat up the sharps from time to time. But again, generally, when we see the higher stakes audiences putting a lot more money behind the picks, we tend to think they are going to be a bit sharper. And I know that's something you found out this offseason, kind of going through some of the most correlated stuff. Positional ADP tends to actually be pretty good when it comes down to it. Oh!
I was honestly proud.
Why did you do that, Rocklaw?
Because he knows what he's doing. He's drafting a good team.
Oh,
I like his start.
God.
Do you even have a backup plan, or were you just like you're like it's happening?
I'm just devastated right now. Oh my God,
Mark Andrews. I can't help you. I can't table talk. I was like, say you got an elite tight end staring you in the face, man. Come on,
just talk.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna take Kenneth Walker. A guy that I started drafting more of about 3 weeks ago. Like after I finished my running back rankings, I just really found myself liking him quite a bit. And then now we're getting more and more talk. Like it sounds like he's probably going to be the lead guy, for his team. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about getting Kenneth Walker
Yeah, Charbonnet's now also banged up. I appreciate the whole fantasy community waiting until like Charbonnet is out and like 3 good things a coach speak. Now everyone in mid-August has been on, Kenneth Walker the entire offseason. Didn't hear many of those cries a few short weeks before that, Dwayne, but I am also just an incredibly bitter person at this point in time. So
oh, it was so close for you, man. It was so close. Don't lose focus though. There's a pick you need to make here at wide receiver with your quarterback.
Yeah. Come on down, Keon.
Yeah.
Some wide receivers that are still on the board that honestly, like Chris Godwin, Jaden Reed, Deontay Johnson, in a vacuum could have just taken. I have them ranked ahead of Keon, but Dwayne, not that the preseason takeaways should rule all, but when you do look at what was going on, one of the bigger surprising things to me, man, was seeing Keon again out there for 100% of the first team routes with Josh Allen. So I know Mac Hollins is someone that, wasn't playing and he should be involved to some extent, but I do think some of the, concerns we had even a month ago before training camp started about the Bills really easing in, Keon Coleman, I'm not so worried about it anymore. Is he going to be 100% route rates in the season? No, but it seems pretty clear based on what we've seen again in the one game in the preseason and also in a training camp. I have a hard time believing Keon's not going to be featured in 3 wide receiver sets pretty quick.
Yeah, he's going to play. The other thing is, like, you didn't have Mac Hollins last week, so Marquez Valdez-Scantling played more. I really think Mac Hollins is going to get the snaps that MVS left on the table. Mac Hollins is not a good wide receiver, people. I don't care how bad Keon Coleman is. Mac Hollins is not good, and Keon Coleman is your early round draft pick. You got to get him on the field. So we shouldn't overthink anything like that. In my opinion, I think taking Keon Coleman, I've heard all the rhetoric out there. Can't get open, can't catch contested targets. Don't care. Potential wide receiver 1 in the freaking Buffalo Bills offense. And we are not that good at predicting these things that precisely. Look, I have a wide receiver supermodel. There were things about Keon Coleman I didn't like, but once he landed with the Bills on a team that we don't have an obvious wide receiver 1, to talk yourself out of Keon Coleman where he goes in drafts, in my opinion, like you're just really getting too cute. So with Coleman, could he end up bombing? Yeah, but it's still the type of bet that I want to be making. Do I want him on every team? No, but if I'm going to put him on my team, it's on the one I drafted, Josh Allen.
And if you guys do, we'll be making bets. Remember, there's no better place to do it than over at DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, we are besting with some of the best ball business right now. Plenty of DFS goodness too. But guys, whether you've been watching your favorite team from the screen at home or the ballpark in the stands, there's an even better way to get in on the action. Check out our partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers who bet just $5 will instantly get $150 back in bonus bets, and no better time to do that than this weekend. That's right. It is UFC season, specifically UFC 305. So banger of a main event, Dricus du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya. 2 guys that do not like each other. I tend to lean towards more of the grapple, relatively more grapple heavy. DDP taking it down, but hey, Izzy's certainly been bulking up, crying a little bit at the press conference. Don't love to see that, but I will be taking DDP. Kai Kara France for Steve Ursig. Big fight, in the flyweight division. Winner of that could end up getting a title shot. Gamrot versus Dan Hooker. Tai Tuivasa versus Jairzinho Rosenstrike. Even got Li Jingliang fighting for the first time in over a year as well. So true banger of a card. And again, you want to get a little skin in the game, head on over and do that DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers who bet $5 will instantly get $150 in bonus bets. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use our code FantasyLife. Remember, the crown is yours. Downfall of
I gotta say, man, I love Rocklaw's team. Like, he played that so perfectly. He snapped Dalton Kincaid right in front of you, even though he's got Michael Pittman Jr. And what did he do? He looked down past his pick. He knew you had Josh Allen. I had Patrick Mahomes. I'm assuming he did this. He might have just clicked on the name. I mean, Dalton Kincaid was at the top of the queue, but I'm guessing he was thinking about Richardson because he's got Pittman Jr. So he knew that really the guy at the end of the draft, at the tail end, was the only one without a quarterback, and he's got Tank Dell. Why would he take Anthony Richardson? He's probably taking CJ Stroud. So I thought it was beautifully played. Like, you get Breece Hall, H.M., Pittman, Rashee Rice, Dalton Kincaid, and then come back with Anthony Richardson, like just major playmakers all over the place. Plus, you've got your stack. You've got week 17 correlation between Kincaid and Hall. I'm sorry. Like, Ian's like, shut up about this guy's team.
Yes, seriously. Everything you said, Dwain, might be true, but I hate it. So
But just shut up.
moving on, Deontay Johnson, come on down to the squad. Pretty easy pick for me there. Again, still only had 3 wide receivers after 6 rounds. Need to fill things out just a little bit. Dwain keeps the Chiefs stack going. You know, I have Kelsey, Worthy, and, you know, a free falling Hollywood Brown. What are you doing here, Dwain?
Taking another wide receiver.
Yeah, I think I need to probably as well. This is about the time where, again, we really start seeing the separation. And guess what? I need another Bills wide receiver. Who's at the top of the queue? Curtis Samuel, come on down. So got the Keon, Curtis, Josh Allen business rolling, and we are feeling pretty good. So going to be a bit before Dwain and I are back on the clock. So wanted to get to some of our lovely questions here. Appreciate all you guys in the comments. But Brian wants to know, in a 0 RB or hero RB, what would be some good RBs to target in the late rounds of the draft? Well, Brian, I am happy you asked. I actually just put a list of these in an article I had go up today over at FantasyLife.com that I am pulling up as I speak. But yeah, the following guys all have an ADP outside of the top 130 on ESPN. I know it can change by provider, but you know, it's mid-August, all right? And a lot of people draft on ESPN. So with that in mind, Blake Corum from the Rams, Trey Benson from the Cardinals, Seahawks backup Zach Charbonnet, Falcons Tyler Algier, Vikings Ty Chandler, Patriots Antonio Gibson, Cowboys Rico Dowdle. Pick 165 is crazy for Dowdle in particular. Panthers running back Chuba Hubbard, and then currently going undrafted in the ESPN streets, Ray Davis and Braylon Allen. So not saying all these guys are going to instantly be top 12 talents, you know, if the team starter goes down. But honestly, Dwain, I mean, Corum, Algier in particular, I do think they'd immediately be vying for some RB1 consideration. And hell, man, we even got guys like Ty Chandler, Rico Dowdle, and arguably Ray Davis, where not saying they're going to be standalone RB1s or RB2s or anything, but weird things have happened in those guys, you know, carving out some value on their respective teams. I mean, hell, Chuba Hubbard looks a lot like the Panthers RB1 for at least September.
Yeah, no, you named all the guys. I really don't have anything to add other than that where those players are going right now on ESPN and Yahoo and places like that. Like some of these guys you named, like you mentioned, are not getting draft. Like Blake Corum right now, you're getting in the last round of your draft in those formats. You know, over here, we're talking about having to take Blake Corum probably by, I haven't looked at his ADP right here, 126, right? So we're talking right after round 10 is over, you're having to pull the trigger on Blake Corum. So a lot of guys that offer the upside to break your league if something goes their way in the injury department. Some of them, to your point, we don't know which ones for sure, to be honest, could have a little bit more of a role than what we think they're going to have early in the season. But yeah, plenty of names. The main thing, though, is like if you spend draft capital early at wide receiver, you're going to have to spend more late. And so the idea is to not get too honed in on just one name. You're going to probably need multiple players like out of the group that you just listed.
And I will say, if you're looking for some wide receivers very late, again, you're not going to be getting them on DraftKings or some of these higher stakes sites. But these rookies in particular, man, I guess it's just the kind of unfamiliarity factor. But Xavier Worthy on ESPN is going pick 117. Keon Coleman and Roma Dunze and Lab McConkey between 120 and 124. Brian Thomas Jr. goes pick 143, even though he has a, ready to go starting spot in that T-Law-led offense. Hell, guys like Jameson Williams, Curtis Samuel, and Rashid Shaheed, the need for Shaheed, also going outside the top 130 picks. So good stuff, Brian. And yeah, best of luck, man. I know certainly I've been going through a lot of kind of hero RB starts, just like I am right now. So Dwain, we pretty much kind of entered the more lowly wide receiver territory. Again, whenever you see Josh Palmer at the top of the queue, that's kind of when I'm like, all right, hopefully I already got my guys, because this is not looking overly great from this standpoint. So luckily still got
this guy's about to snipe you again. I feel it, no doubt. Bones.
Just there's Chase Brown. I cannot believe freaking Rockfall over here.
I had him at the top of my queue too, but I knew he wasn't getting past you.
Are you?
So I would just prefer he be sniped one pick ahead and also kick you in the balls.
I have had it with this freaking dude, man. All right, I am just furious right now. Give me, who freaking cares? My team's dead at this point. No, it's not dead. Give me Devin Singletary. Would have been a hell of a lot cooler if it was Chase Brown, Dwayne.
Yeah, man, dude. Thank you for leaving me Jonathan Brooks. Like, still league winner at the end of the season on this kind of build. That's exactly what I want. I can't believe you left him here for me, Ian Hartitz.
All right, dude, take him. Why don't you marry him, bro?
I didn't even hesitate. He's already gone. He's been gone for like 5 minutes. Are you asleep?
Brian Robinson. I just can't. I can't do this. Can't do this anymore. Rocklaw is so far inside my head right now. It is not even funny.
Hey, Rockwall's crushing. You love to see it, just not in the draft you're in. Way to go, Rocklaw.
For real though, Devin Singletary is going to have 110 total yards and score a touchdown in week 1. Everyone's just going to be like, yeah, why was this guy, going as low as he is? He's going to be the featured running back and a bad offense. I get it. But yeah, man, I don't know, man.
Hey, he's a poor man's Ramondre Stevenson. he might actually have less competition.
You're a bit higher on Brooks' overall talent. I'm just not convinced that like the second he's healthy that he's all of a sudden this top 10, top 12 running back.
I don't think we're saying that though. We're just saying by the time you're trying to win all the marbles in this thing, which is not, the second he's healthy, that'll be like 8 or 9 weeks after he's healthy.
Yeah. Or also you could say Devin Singletary, Brian Robinson are going to have that role just from week 1 on.
Yeah, they just don't carry the same upside,
allegedly,
as Brooks.
But yeah, no, I hear you. He was the first running back.
Tell yourself what you need to justify the pick. I feel you.
Producer Lamarcus says around the same time Devin Singletary gets benched. Thanks, Matt. I thought you were an independent party in here. So I love Rocklaw. If you're out there, man, we're either going to hire you or I'm going to fight you. One of those two things are going to, come to fruition. So, he is crushing it. And then to get Jaden Daniels after that.
Yeah, I'm not making the Jaden Daniels pick, though, to be honest. As much as I love Jaden Daniels, once I've got Anthony Richardson on board, I'm bowing out.
He doesn't have any commanders as well.
Yeah, I'm taking another running back right there. I'm taking a swing on Corum, another player like that. I just think there's too many things you can do later, at quarterback. So, but if you're going to make a mistake on a second quarterback, it's Jaden Daniels. I mean, 100%. Anthony Richardson and Jaden Daniels, there's a world where they're both top 6 quarterbacks. So that's good. But the problem is, if you've got a top 6 quarterback, I mean, do you really need them battling each other? Like you've placed your bet. You just need, one of them to go off. So.
Also, Miguel's wondering if we have any tips for drafting in a 16-team full PPR league with 2 flex spots, drafting out of the number 6 spot. So number 6, again, you're going to have your pick between likely maybe a falling Bijan or Brees, or worst case, a Jamar Chase, Sun God, Justin Jefferson, your pick from the litter there. So just in general, though, Dwayne, when you do start getting up there in the teams of 16, some people are in 32 team leagues. Just a matter of, again, I would say more than anything, just what we talked about today a bit with the 10 commandments of your fantasy draft. You can check out wherever you are listening to us right now. But just, again, being mindful of the positional draft allocation and trying to avoid getting left too far behind at any singular position. Like, that's the thing, man. At the 6th spot, you're in a decent, you're not too far on one turn versus the other, which is nice about not having to, wait for your pick that long. But any general thoughts, Dwayne, on bigger league sizes like this?
Yeah, I'm waiting more on quarterback. You definitely can't take onesies, quarterbacks, and tight ends together. When you're playing in a league that large that also has the flex players, I'm pounding wide receivers. Big time. I think hero is your preferred strategy. But zero could also be potentially there. The challenge is in a 16-teamer, you could get boxed out really quick. Because even if you're picking in the middle, so many picks have to happen before you pick again. So you can't even necessarily just sit there and read your tiers and feel super comfortable. I will say being in the middle is absolutely my favorite spot, if I'm drafting in one of those leagues. So I think you've got to make sure that you're really pounding the wide receivers early. So I would say probably in the first 5 rounds, I minimum 3 wide receivers. I probably want 4 with 1 running back.
It was nice of Rockwall not to snipe me for once. Appreciate you, man. I needed that. So go ahead and bring down Rico Dowdle. Maybe, just maybe, the Cowboys won. We'll see what happens there. Dwayne, you already have Travis Kelce. Otherwise, I was going to say maybe Freiermuth would be a good bring back. Not that you couldn't do that anyway, but you went ahead and took the other Cowboys running back, Ezekiel Elliott. So maybe one of us is right. Maybe we're both wrong. We'll find out in about 4 months.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad you finally came over to Rico Dowdle with me. I just wish you wouldn't do it in the draft year with me.
I need to re-listen to our Cowboys pod. Maybe I was just in a bad mood that day. I don't remember being that far out on Rico Dowdle, but I also forget.
I'm messing with you. Yeah. So I kind of, the other guy I had in my queue is Adonai Mitchell, and I thought I was for sure getting him.
That did not happen.
Back here.
This corner down here is just killing us. Well, our squad's looking fine though. As much as I wish a
No.
couple of
I
picks went
oh
went
shit!
our
I
way.
just auto picked Justin Herbert. Squad not looking fine. I clicked draft. Oh my god, how embarrassing!
That sucks, Mr. Dwain. But
Yeah, no, I clicked Jerry Judy, but not in time. So
I will now
I'm here
click Jerry
freaking
Judy.
talking. Yeah.
See that route? It was pretty freaking dope. But yeah, Deshaun Watson is one of my most drafted quarterbacks. And a lot of these drafts, man, like once again, I got a tight end early in this one, but David Njoku's been a target for me if I miss out on one of the more elite tight ends. And then just pretty easy. Amari Cooper, someone I've drafted a good amount. So I do like the, just kind of getting these guys and then having a chance to get Deshaun Watson later. But it could blow up 100%. I'm not expecting this Browns offense to necessarily be record breaking, but at least this year we have the chance to buy some of these guys a bit closer. I mean, look, last year it was Judy in round 4 and Deshaun Watson in round 7. Mistakes were made. At least this year's Judy in round 12. And again, Watson more like round 13, round 14 out there. So did see the note from new ESPN signee Benjamin Solak. Congrats to Ben. Just talking about how he spent a couple days at Browns, Minnesota, Vikings kind of team practices, and just made the point that, yeah, these might be two of the worst offenses in the league, or they're both dealing with two really good defenses. So I know Brian Flores is, blitz heavy defense can cause problems for even the best quarterbacks out there. But yeah, Dwain, maybe in the year 2024, Deshaun Watson and Sam Darnold aren't going to be leading, these prolific passing attacks. What a thought.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Look, there are smart people that are in on the Vikings. Like Hayden Winks likes their passing game with Sam Darnold. I saw Mike Leone from ETR. I don't know where he is on a projection standpoint. I'll have to go check. I mean, I've got Darnold projected for a little bit over 235 yards per game. He's averaged 211 in his career. So I'm already giving major props to Justin Jefferson as well as Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
But like, it's tough for me to really push him that much higher. Then I went and checked out. I tried to check, on passing lines. Now I don't know how many games these people have. Sam Darnold projected for. I've got him right now at 16. I project all quarterbacks, to miss one game. So a few I'll do 2, but I've got him at 3,700 passing yards. Essentially. So I've got him at, like I said, 235 per game. But when you look at FanDuel, they've got him at 3,500, under 3,500, for the season. So it's really hard for me to want to push Sam Darnold that much higher. I mean, are we really at the point where we think having a good wide receiver and a good coordinator just literally solves all problems? Because if it does, there's a lot of teams wasting a boatload of money on quarterbacks. And yes, I get it, guys. We already know that's happening probably with guys like Tua, but Tua has 2 elite weapons, right? And a great coordinator. So I don't know. Like, I'm kind of in the middle on it. So I end up being a little higher on Darnold than what I thought I would be. I've got him as my QB 20. I'm so pissed at myself, by the way, for the Justin Herbert thing. I know this is just a $20 draft, but man, like I needed so many other things there. Herbert doesn't go with my team. If I'm reaching for a quarterback there, it should have been Matthew Stafford to go with Puka Nacua. And now I'm stuck with freaking Justin Herbert. So yeah, really, really screwed that up.
Come on, bro. You can just get Quentin Johnston. Everything will be fine.
Yeah, I'm not drafting Quentin Johnson. He's on my do not draft list. Dude,
take Chris Allen's advice. Get a little Will Dissly exposure here in round 19 or 20.
Jesus Christ.
Oh man, vibes have gone south here in the fantasy life.
No. Hey, it's so perfect. Like this weekend, this morning we drop our here's how to draft a really good team. Number 1 thing, be prepared. I'm sitting here on the clock, not paying attention to the damn clock, and miss my pick. What a moron.
All right. Well, I have a player I need to fall to me. So naturally,
don't worry. Rock
Law will get them.
Rockman, Rock Law.
Dude, I'm just calling him the GOAT. This is the best fantasy drafter in the world. It just happens to go by Rock Law. That's all we know at this point. So getting into round 13, I have 1 quarterback, 4 running backs, 6 wide receivers, and just 1 tight end. That's what happens when you get Josh Allen and Mark Andrews. You can afford to wait a bit on the position. Dwain has 2 quarterbacks, just really had to go out of his way for Justin Herbert. He definitely meant to make that pick happen. 4 running backs and 5 wide receivers. It was going to be Jerry Jeudy for you, said Dwain, if you accidentally didn't auto draft Herbert.
Yeah, it would have been Judy or Stafford, but Judy's who I had. Judy's who I was clicking on, but I was deciding between those 2 players, and it auto picked Herbert.
Stafford wouldn't have been bad, but again, didn't need to necessarily prioritize it.
I don't want it because I've got Mahomes. Yeah.
So this is where Rocklaw takes Deshaun Watson, even though it doesn't make sense because good things don't come to. Oh, let's go. Let's go, Dwain. We're so back. We are so back. It was Jover, but now we are Barack. Let's freaking go. Josh Downs for Dwain. So it didn't get AD Mitchell, but man, dude, it is funny how I understand Downs is hurt. He deserved to drop in the ranks, but a few short weeks ago, Josh Downs is going round 10, round 11. Or should have been going that high, I believe, in full PPR scoring. And now you got him in round 13. So don't call it a comeback, the Dwain McFarland story.
Yeah. So I'll take Josh Downs. I was wanting Downs and Jalen Wright, or Polk. Polk and Wright both go at the turn. So I'm down to Lloyd, or I'm gonna go. I need to take one more receiver here. So
2, 4, 6, 1. Dwain got Leggett. Now you like Leggett. I'm just playing. Jaleel Gibson, Ray. I'm gonna. Who we got?
Don't auto pick Hartitz. That's the one. The cardinal sin. We can't have both of us do it on the same show.
All right, I went ahead and just took Demarcus Robinson. Doesn't quite match up with again any of the stacks and stuff I have going on, but at this point, no real more Bills wide receivers. Not going to go too far out of my way for a Jets bring back there because I think I could get a Jets bring back at another position next round. Hint on that one. I do continue to love Demarcus Robinson as much as the Jordan Whittingham hype is going crazy, bro. This could still easily be the wide receiver 5 on the Los Angeles Rams. I know they're saying nice things about him, but I just think the Puka hype is going a little crazy. Yes, guys, sometimes the Rams standout training camp wide receiver does turn into one of the most productive rookie wide receivers of all time. Other times it's Allen Robinson. Okay. That happened one year before Puka. But what? Go ahead, Dwain.
But Matt, if you look at Sean McVay, he didn't tip his hand at all last year in the preseason on Puka. He played him barely in week 1 of the preseason and then just freaking tucked him away and hit him.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about a rookie this year that was on full display for all that game. So, I mean, there's all sorts of ways we can get into the minutia of this stuff and think, oh, we're reading a signal when, most of the time we overestimate our ability to read patterns and actually turn them into a pattern and think that it's actually going to mean something sharp for us in fantasy. Yeah. Sometimes we get them right, but sometimes the very thing that led you to fantasy gold last year is the thing that leads you to a complete fantasy dumpster fire the following year. So, I mean, it can really go either way. So I think we got to be careful with that kind of stuff.
Quote from Ace Rams beat reporter Jordan Rodriguez. Her words, not mine. Demarcus Robinson seems like he is aging in reverse, Dwain, which will be helpful because he is 30 years old.
Benjamin Button.
Yeah,
gonna come out there. He's gonna be like 2 foot tall by the time the season gets here.
Benjamin Button too. The Demarcus Robinson story. Let's go. Freaking make it, Pixar. What are we waiting for at this point? So interesting strategy from Team 1. Every team in this league has at least 2 quarterbacks, but not Matt IV19. Probably because he is on auto pick. So I guess I'm done trying to explain away his strategy there. So yeah, that sucks.
He must have his personal queue set up because usually auto pick means you're going to draft way too many quarterbacks. So he's obviously got his personal queue and he's got quarterbacks pushed down. So,
I mean, I actually
killer strategy though.
I kind of like how it started off for him. CMC, Waddle, Olave, Coop, Kirk, JMO, like had a lot of quarterbacks he could have gone to with these options. Arguably, like, Tua, Derek, Cooper, T-Law, Goff, had a lot of, different ways he could have gone. Still a couple options. We'll see what his auto picks does. But, oh, my God, Rocklaw took Braylon, too. I freaking hate this guy. Give me Ray Davis or whatever. He's a Bill. He catches passes.
Or whatever.
I cannot believe this, man. Oh, and you know what? Good for him. He's crushing it. I'm not going to be.
Not going to lie. Rocklaw is very likely reading some Hartitz and McFarland content.
Dude, this is ridiculous. Maybe he's listening to this.
Actually, I think Nick Krissa is too. I think both of them are having really solid drafts.
Yeah, our corner is just massacring each other right now. But, it is what it is over there. You make your pick. Okay, you made your pick. On the board, Greg Dortch is staring at me. Not now, man. We'll get back to you later. I do need to say, Tyler Conklin. There's my bring back. Okay. Makes sense there. I love when I draft guys and just don't even look at the buy, and then we get to have this moment of realization. All right, I'm good. And if I wasn't good, I would just say bye weeks don't matter. That's how I handle buys for him.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's a tough corner down here. I had Khalil Herbert and Tyrone Tracy both in my queue.
Ooh.
I went with the week 17 bringback since I've got freaking Justin Herbert on here with the Patriots with Hunter Henry. So I end up going Henry and Douglas, and I don't get either. I also had actually all 4 running backs I had in my queue went. I had Braylon Allen, Ray Davis, Khalil Herbert, and Tyrone Tracy. So I should have just taken a running back with my first pick and then taken either Hunter Henry or Demario Douglas. So another mistake by me. I admit my mistakes in my drafts, and I'm not. I don't hate my team, but I'm not having as strong of a draft as what I normally like to have.
Cardinals wide receiver 1, Greg Dortch, finally off the board here at the end of the round 16. So used to be nice being able to get Dortch Torch in round 18, not anymore. So Derek Carr goes to team 1, already had Chris Olave. Okay, he is back feeling himself at this point. But yeah, everyone into round 17. So Rockwell ended up taking Marvin Mims. Dwayne, we were talking earlier, you kind of brought up that just kind of done with this Patriots offense, man. Not that,
And now I drafted 2.
Exactly.
I was done, and I took 2 of them.
So,
to be fair, I said I was done with them on a home league show where we're talking about normal leagues, and I drafted Hunter Henry in round 15, which would have been the last round in most leagues on Yahoo or ESPN. So look at me finding a way out of this.
That's true. I was just going to say, though, similar sentiments starting to get there with the Broncos. I mean, this team looks bad, man. As much as I was clicking Marvin Mims for a little bit, I'm starting to get worried that we just see 4 or 5 wide receivers behind Sutton kind of rotating more than we would prefer.
Yeah. I'm totally with you on that. Man.
Sigh. Those are the types
the running back thing. Last round, man. All of those guys going, and I definitely wanted another upside running back in that last round, and now, like, man, they've really been pummeled.
I want Jordan Mason, so that's who Rocklaw's taking. Oh, Justice Hill. Freaking take him, dude. What a freaking idiot out here. Okay, Jordan Mason, come on down. Just kidding, Rocklaw. You're killing it. But Roshan Johnson to Dwain. Very well could be the RB2 in Chicago. Again, some wonkiness going on with him and Khalil Herbert. A couple tight ends off the board there with Noah Fant and Juwan Johnson. Like those picks, especially on a team that only had Dalton Schultz, so certainly needed a couple more. I, too, was looking at perennial training camp all-star Tank Bigsby, Dwayne. So thank you very much for taking him away from me. That was so kind of you. So I'm going to go with someone who maybe will just climb up the ranks as the season goes on. Come on down, Jermaine Burton. Trusting the talent. And again, when we look at this Bengals depth chart and some of these other teams, like, is Jalen Polk really the backup in New England right now? He has been in the preseason. I get it. Is Jermaine Burton really buried behind 6 or 7 wide receivers? Or do some of these teams not really give a damn about, playing their rookies that high up the depth chart when the preseason is just starting? So Jermaine Burton is still someone that I think a lot of us believed, if you take away some of the off the field stuff, was a legit top 50 talent in this draft. If not someone that could have been, knocking on that round 1, round 2 door. Obviously Bengals got him pick 80, I believe, again, because of some of those aforementioned non-football issues. So, Dwayne, some people made it out to be a bad thing that he was making the catches he did in the fourth quarter. I don't know if you caught those routes, man, but they were silky smooth. I still believe in Jermaine Burton, the talent, and getting him in round 18, bro. Sign me up for that.
No, he looked really good. I did find it interesting. Did you see the tweet that Nathan Yonke put out of all the wide receivers that were playing in the fourth quarter of the first preseason game over the last 3 years? It was a terrible list. None of them made it. I had never looked at the data that way. So major hat tip to Yonke on that one. Yeah, man. I was like, whoa, like that's yikes. I had the hypothesis based kind of anecdotally that I cared more about wide receiver playing time early than running backs. Running backs, I feel like literally they have to earn their way up the depth chart. Like we've seen so many. I think actually Yonke might have had a tweet on this too. Running backs that played in the fourth quarter in the fourth quarter over the first preseason game over the last 3 years. And it was kind of the opposite. Like you had Achane was on there, all these guys. And again, why? Because injuries can open the door. Now, Achane didn't need an injury. He just exploded. But injuries do open the door, right, for these other guys. And even with Achane, like it was Jeff Wilson getting dinged up at one point that kind of just meant, okay, the running back 2 job is yours. Then he exploded and it didn't matter. So Yeah, I'm with you on the Jermaine Burton stuff still, though, even though that fourth quarter data looked bad, just because he did look so good in the rookie supermodel, and he plays for the freaking Bengals. So if you get it right at any point in the season, even if it's just for like a 3-game stretch, like he's going to pay off this draft capital.
Not saying Yoshi can't do his thing. I know Trent Irwin made a couple plays last year, but come on, guys. Burton was pretty clearly drafted with the goal of him being that wide receiver 3 sooner rather than later. Certainly on this squad, I am hoping it's going to be sooner. So Greg Dolchitz off the board for Rockwell decided to spare me whatever sad sack I'm going to be forced to draft right here. So I'll go one more
We've
wide
called
receiver.
him so many different names. We should really know. We should really know his draft name. Did you call him Rockwell that time?
Yeah. I used to know a guy named Rockwell. I'm messing that one up. Rockwall, excuse me. But Dwayne and I just taking some more, quality wide receivers. I know you wanted to hoard all the Patriots, Dwayne. So sorry I had to steal Javon Baker from you.
No, it's okay. I wanted to go Roman Wilson just because I have set up this whole Chiefs thing here.
Yeah.
So I could tell myself a story where, well, Roman Wilson didn't play in the fourth quarter. He was hurt.
Yeah, because he's hurt.
He couldn't play.
Oh my goodness. Jalen Hyatt off the board soon after that. Again, if we are going to be taking any wide receivers this late, I do think it should be either rookies or, rising second year, sort of talents that we have seen flash. And accordingly, Dwayne and I, Josh Downs, Xavier Leggett, Demarcus Robinson matches none of that, but just trust me, Jermaine Burton, Javon Baker, Roman Wilson, and $33 million man, Kendrick Bourne. Dwayne, what the hell was your problem? You drafted 3 Patriots.
I drafted 3 freaking Patriots. I know, because I couldn't get any of my freaking stacks with Justin Herbert. So I'm building this theoretical world where in week 17, Justin Herbert throws for 500 yards, but it's across 8 different wide receivers and tight ends. Okay. And none of them go over, what's the math on that? Well, somebody's got to go over like 60 or 70 yards, right? They all average 60, 70 yards each. Some of them score touchdowns. They're worthless as wide receivers and tight ends for your best ball format. But Justin Herbert is actually what wins the league for you, and the Patriots go off as all the bringbacks. Actually, I think my path, a lot better path, would just be Patrick Mahomes goes nuts. But this is the world I just built in this simulation because I made a stupid pick on Justin Herbert.
I don't even think you believed what you were just letting
go.
No,
I didn't. I don't believe any of that. I'm trying to make myself feel better.
That's how it goes in the fantasy streets. While Dwayne was talking, I made the thrilling pick of, getting the Raiders backup Alexander Madison out here. So I don't know. The Dylan Lobb hype seemingly has, gone from best running back alive to maybe someone that, maybe he's a 6th-round pick for a reason. So always good to remember that. But yeah, Madison also sucks at football. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time trying to defend that. But there you have it, everybody. I went with a 2-7-9-2 build. Mr. McFarland over here, 2-6-10-2. So again, started off strong with AJB. A little softer on wide receivers. Only had him and DJ Moore through 5 rounds, but got elite with Josh Allen and Mark Andrews. Freaking Rock Law over here taking Dalton Kincaid from me. If you guys know this, put me on a little bit of tilt, but still managed to get the elite tight end. Had Jameer Gibbs to build around, so only took 1 running back in the first 8 rounds. Able to get 2 stacking partners with Keon and Curtis Samuel for my guy Josh Allen. Loved having Deontay Johnson fall to where he did there. Still think he's a great value there at the end of round 7 when you can get him. Couple running backs who would prefer Chase Brown. Again, thank you so much, Rock Law. That was so fun. Devin Singletary, Brian Robinson Jr., and Rico Dowdle. Anytime you can get a bunch of NFC East, average talents, you just got to do so. But Jerry Jeudy, Demarcus Robinson, Jermaine Burton, and Javon Baker have some reasons for hopeful upside with them, and had to get the, Deshaun Watson, Jeudy stack there because, hey, what could go wrong? Ray Davis, Jordan Mason, Alexander Madison as your prospective handcuffs. And I actually have been stacking a little bit of Ray Davis and even James Cook sometimes because these are running backs I do think could go out there and play with Josh Allen. So as we, talk about Dwayne, a pick we wish we could have back, I know you're going to say that I should have taken Jonathan Brooks over Singletary, and that's fine. But more than anything, I just wish I would have not had freaking Rocklaw taking all my guys right in front of me. So I don't think I really did much wrong here in terms of positional allocation. I think sadly it just would have been a stronger team, if I would have gotten the guys I wanted at a couple specific spots. But all in all, not the worst, team I have drafted. Not sure we're going to be taking down the 1.5 milli, but I will take it regardless. So Dwayne, how are you feeling about your Justin Herbert and Patriots led squad?
Yeah, and I don't think Singletary was actually a mistake. You just had a preference. You needed to take a running back there, and you just had a
Right.
preference of Singletary over Brooks. So I think like it's tomato tomato in my opinion. I wanted Brooks there, you wanted Singletary, but we both had to have a running back. I felt great about the team through Jonathan Brooks and Javonte Williams. And then I think I made, and so yeah, you already mentioned I have a 2-6-10-2 build. I don't have a 10 wide receiver build yet. Like it's not something I typically do. I will say if I had to do it, it's going to be in a format where it's PPR. You got to start 3 wide receivers. But what really dictated that was the fact that the way that I misread the running back board the rest of the way. So my major mistake, one, when I took Josh Downs, I probably should have gone ahead and taken Jalen Wright because I'm still getting one of Josh Downs or Xavier Legette.
Mm-hmm.
Then I made a mistake again with Hunter Henry, and Khalil Herbert and Tyrone Tracy went. And what should have triggered me is I had Braylon Allen and Ray Davis in my queue as well. Knowing there were 2 guys here, I thought I would get one of them back. And really, like, the more valuable thing is the upside running back there, not your freaking bring back stack to Justin Herbert when you have freaking Travis Kelce already on your team. That was I was a complete, absolute, freaking, utter moron making the Hunter Henry pick. I should have gone with Herbert or Tracy. And then coming back, I get one of Hunter Henry or Demario Douglas. So when I look at that, like the Herbert thing, I let the auto pick cascade into like multiple bad picks instead of like I tried to overcome it by getting cute. And that's not what you want to do. I tried to get cute with the bring back stuff, and that was just really stupid. After that, I felt fine. Like I get Roshan Johnson, I get Tank Bigsby. I'm probably taking one of those 2 players anyway, maybe not both of them at those picks. And then at the end of the draft, all the running backs that I was really targeting were gone. So Roman Wilson was just the bring back to the Chiefs. And then Kendrick Bourne, I was like, why not? I mean, I've already made this bed with Justin Herbert, in week 17. I've got Hunter Henry and Demario Douglas. I just sent out a tweet yesterday saying, will this team even score a touchdown in 2024? And then I turn around and I take 3 players from this team. So I think you could actually argue that I shouldn't even be a fantasy analyst, and I should maybe retire today.
Tell us how you really feel about how the squad went, Dwain, please. My goodness.
Terrible. This is maybe the worst draft I've ever had, but hey, I'm honest with myself, Ian. So there.
We have noticed that, Dwain, and we applaud you for that honesty. As Lenny brought up in the chat, sounds like nothing was tickling Dwayne's pickle that last round. You could argue the last 8
that is a great
rounds
reference
of the draft. So appreciate you, again, being up front, Dwain. Appreciate Lenny. Appreciate everyone joining us again today. So
everyone except Rocklaw.
Yes, that is very true. All of you except Rocklaw, and to a lesser extent, Nick. Risa.
Yeah, Nick was busting my balls and Rocklaw was busting yours. So it was really great. It wasn't even you and I sniping each other. We were getting sniped on both sides by the other players.
Already tough enough drafting, at the turn, with some of the injuries going on, and then just getting absolutely obliterated there. So hope you all had fun watching, because that didn't happen to you. But yeah, guys, again, doing these every single Friday. Might have some other streams up next week. We'll be shooting this out at FantasyLife.com and on our Twitter and all that madness. So keep an eye over there. And yeah, the Fantasy Life show, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, for an hour, just trying to live the old fantasy life and help make you a better fantasy player. So make sure you check out Dwayne's wide receiver strategy article, just dropped on FantasyLife.com for free, and we all have our rankings updated at FantasyLife.com. Dwayne's behind that pesky little paywall, but hey, less than a Chipotle burrito per month, baby. To get that Fantasy Life Plus, why not check it out? So for Dwayne, for producer Matt, I'm Ian. Thanks again for tuning into this Fantasy Life stream, and until next time, take care, everybody.